Friends, colleagues and fellow trade unionists, welcome to Conference 2023. I am delighted that we're here in Telford to debate and engage in the issue that is critical to our success as a nation, the education of our young people. We know that the quality of any nation's education cannot exceed the quality of its educators. But we also know that the quality of teacher and pupil performance cannot exceed the ambition of its school leaders. And in this room today, we have some of the most talented school leaders in the United Kingdom and the British Crown dependencies. Over 400 school leaders with a collective 10 millennia of rich and diverse experience. The sense of public service runs deep in your veins, and it is your values that shape our school system. Your values that are key to unlocking the potential of our young people. Your values that mean that every day you work with energy, creativity, and tenacity to make the seemingly impossible work. Leadership is about choices, and every day the choices you make change lives. Every day you, the leaders in this room, choose compassion above indifference. You choose equality and challenge prejudice, and you turbo boost opportunity and tackle disadvantage. Every day you, the leaders in this room, prioritize solidarity over individuality, pragmatism above ideology, and inclusion above league tables. Conference, there has never been a more important time for school leaders to take control and shape the school system. And the next 2 days will be about debating motions and policy positions that will empower school leaders to do their job, shine a light on government policies, and articulate our ambition for the school system. But tragically, despite the talent in this room, many of us are facing inner conflict. How long can we do more with less? How long can we sustain crippling workload pressures that impact on our health and family life? How much longer can we work in a system that prioritises metrics over people? The invisible hand of underfunding and high-stakes accountability casts a shadow over our life's work, and it's leading to an insidious erosion in our conditions of service and the ability to do our jobs. The incentives that once inspired young people to become teachers and the drivers that motivated young teachers to become school leaders are becoming suffocated by the same invisible hand. And it's time for our union to show the power of our collective voice. It's time for us to shape a school system that attracts the best teachers and rewards them with paying conditions that will sustain them, nurture them, and truly make our schools the best place to teach. For too long, we've been programmed to be fearful, doubtful that we can achieve the change needed. We've been told that pay freezes are the unavoidable consequence of austerity. We've been told that Ofsted is the main driver for school improvements. And we've been told that parents value league tables and simplistic one-word grades. Mark my words, Conference. Change is coming, and our resolve is strengthening. Last year, we saw record numbers during the NHT. Attendance at this year's conference has increased by 100%, and 78% of our members recently told us they are willing to take industrial action to secure better pay and conditions. Conference, the next 12 months will be pivotal in our history, and I feel honoured to have been chosen as your president. My journey to the role of president hasn't always been straightforward. When I was 16 and money in our house was tight, I turned down an apprenticeship at the Michelin car factory, or tyre factory, to go to Stoke-on-Trent Sixth Form College. I became the first male in multiple generations of my family not to work in the coal mines, all because of my mum and dad's ambition and the financial sacrifices they made. And it means the world to me that they're sitting over there and they can be here today. My induction into the world of headship also wasn't plain sailing. My first inspection saw the school rated inadequate. The next few years were exhausting and exhilarating, but it did take a toll on my physical health, with poor sleeping patterns established and little time for life outside education. However, I found a way to succeed as a school leader, and I'm immensely proud and honoured to stand before you today as your Vice President and future President of our great union. My success, though, as a leader, is because I've been supported by brilliant people. My wife, Jill, who's also here today, is the best teacher I have ever known. Kevin Boyle and Hilary Berry were the head teachers who introduced me to the work of the NHT. And Jan Diamond and the governors of Hertford Manor Primary School have enabled me to balance my time leading Hertford Manor with supporting my NAHT colleagues. Conference 2023 has many first-time delegates, and I want to thank you all personally for your engagement and attendance. But one delegate has particular been on my mind this week, a delegate who works as an assistant branch secretary and represents our members with determination and passion. That member is Derek Gray from Stoke-on-Trent, and Derek turned 87 this year. Derek's daughter's pointing at him. Derek was born in 1936, when there were very few cars on the road and even fewer planes in the sky. A decade where the majority of children left school at 14 and mass unemployment blighted our working class communities. Today, I think about all the changes Derek has seen across 10 decades. The disappointment and hope, the struggles and progress, the time when politicians failed to invest in our school's future, and the times when they prioritised education as a long-term investment. The times when education ministers fought to improve the conditions of teachers and school staff, and the times when we were undervalued and ignored. The times when the invisible hand of toxic accountability undermined our work, and the times when trust and teacher agency led to rapid improvements in our schools. When colleagues say to me that change is too difficult and being part of a union doesn't make a real difference, I look towards Derek. The positive changes he has seen across a lifetime in education, the young people he has influenced, and the school leaders he has supported have had an immeasurable impact. Colleagues, the road ahead may be long and difficult, but schools are still places where all things are possible. And it is our job to make sure that those who are elected to lead us understand the true value of investing in our children's future. Conference, I want to take heart in Derek's journey and believe that positive change is achievable. But I also want to give a strong message to the next government to prioritise the 3 I's. The 3 I's of intelligent accountability, investing in children's future, and incentivising staff. Let's start with accountability. My first experience of leading a school through Ofsted led to a Category 4 judgment. I was in the first year at the school. I knew what was coming. I had prepared the staff and governors, but still the single word judgment of inadequate rocked the community. Some parents left the school, adding to the decreasing roll. The LA sent in even more advisors to tell us how to do our job, and the local press led with a simplistic headline. But the brilliant staff rolled up their sleeves and got on with the hard graft of school improvement. Brilliant public servants who didn't deserve to be labelled inadequate. Public servants who were without doubt some of the most dedicated and talented teachers and teaching assistants I've ever worked with. Let me be clear, Ofsted does not raise standards. it is the tireless work of staff in schools that does that. At best, Ofsted offers little more than a snapshot of a school's performance, and there are serious questions about how well it can even do that. The reality for many is that the current approach to inspection compounds inequality between schools. The current model is a workload creation vehicle for subject leaders, and it causes unacceptable collateral damage to school leaders' physical and mental health. Recently, we heard the tragic news about Ruth Perry, and I know Ruth's sister, Julia, will be addressing conference tomorrow morning. Our General Secretary, Paul Whiteman, has spoken passionately about Ruth's death being a watershed moment. And it's been emotional to see the outpouring of grief from colleagues in the room and across our profession. I know we all have our own stories to tell about how punitive accountability has actually affected us personally. My own physical health has been impacted by the job. 16 months ago, I was rushed to hospital for 3 days, signed off work because of physical complications that doctors thought was directly caused by the stresses and pressures of work. And sadly, Ruth's death has made me question if I have enough in the tank to lead my school through another Ofsted cycle. My last Ofsted inspection was last week. Didn't expect to laugh. It was a graded inspection with 4 inspectors working excessive hours and leaving no stone unturned. The process, however, was led by a highly skilled lead inspector who conducted the inspection with intelligence and humanity. But, despite her approach, it still almost broke 2 valuable and brilliant members of staff. Conference, the current inspection framework isn't fit for purpose, and I urge you to use the power of our collective endeavours to reform a framework that is sadly now doing more harm than good. And when we return to school on Tuesday, let's take some collective actions. Let's put Ofsted back in its box. Let's remove Ofsted banners from our railings. Let's erase Ofsted logos from our school stationery. Let's delete Ofsted quotes from our website. And when Ofsted reports are published, let's tell our communities that Ofsted is a snapshot of school performance judged against a framework that urgently needs reform. My second I is investment and ensuring we fund schools for the work they do. We know how much noise is being made about school funding being restored to 2010 levels. But we also know the job is unrecognisable from what it was in 2010. Schools have become the front door for children's services, providing solutions to challenges as diverse as children's mental health to feeding families during the school holidays. Local authority budgets have been reduced by billions, and many services have been decimated. The additional £2.3 billion given to schools in the autumn budget provided some headroom for schools after the unfunded 2022 pay award. But now we are being told that the additional funds will have to cover future pay awards too, and many of us are back to square one, with no resources to fund additional frontline staff that will keep children's services afloat. My message to the Secretary of State is clear. We cannot continue to do more with less, and the mythical magic money tree does not grow in school grounds. And my final priority is about incentivising staff. It breaks my heart that many of us cannot recommend teaching and school leadership to future generations without considerable health warnings about excessive workload, the toxic effects of punitive accountability, falling real terms pay and the lack of opportunity for flexible working. The recent DFE report, The Working Lives of Teachers, outlines the unsustainable culture of excessive unpaid overtime. Real-term pay cuts means that teaching has fallen behind other professions. Too many young teachers aspire to work abroad, and teaching assistants are leaving for jobs in Costa Coffee. The warning signs have been there for many years. We are now entering a critical period where the number of new entrants to the profession is at an all-time low. Incentivising staff will need investment. In our recent electronic ballot, 92% of our members told us that the government's proposed pay award was unaffordable, and 78% of our members told us they are willing to take industrial action to resolve this. A demonstrable signal that we won't stand by and let the long-term erosion in terms and conditions and the invisible hand of toxic accountability and underfunding continue to suffocate our profession. The 3 I's: intelligent accountability, investing in schools, and incentivising staff are key to enabling our teachers and school leaders to set the daily climate and conditions for our students to thrive. School leaders need the tools to unlock the potential in our staff and young people, and future government needs to sit up and take notice. I firmly believe that the effects of a long-term, properly funded plan for education will reverberate around the corridors of Carrickfergus, the playgrounds of Penrith, and the staff rooms of Swansea. But unless the government rebuilds trust with the profession and invests in our children's future, we'll be blocked by policy paralysis and further industrial disputes. The next 2 days are about the strength in our mutual support and the power in our collective endeavours. And with the experience and energy in this room, I am confident we can build a coalition of school leaders and teachers to make our system truly world-class. Conference, thank you for the opportunity to be your president. Our work truly does change lives. Let's get on with the business of Conference 2023.